All right. We are live with another Quick Tip Tuesday, each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Today's topic is not as sexy as topic as normal. Today's topic is something very, very important in a real estate transaction. That is title insurance. Title insurance. That's a topic that a lot of individuals that actually bought a home before maybe were not familiar with, but they knew they actually needed it. So this is very important. Title insurance. What is title? Title is basically a company will basically do a title search to see the long list of previous owners, and it would check to make sure each owner was transferred successfully with no debts, no liens, no judgments, anything like that. So basically what they're doing is to make sure you own the property and no one else. No one can come knock on your door and say, hey, this is my property. This deed was never transferred successfully to the next person. So basically the property will be yours with no issues, with no one can come have a lien on the property. There's a contract that they work on the house, the previous owner, that will need to be paid. Everything will need to be clear, no issues before it can be transferred over to you. When title insurance gets involved, each title company will make sure you have a clear title before you can actually, before they would give the title insurance itself. So basically, you would need, they would ensure, they would look at the history, make sure it was transferred successfully. The current owner you're buying from, they're going to make sure that there's no liens on the property, or there's a water lien. There can be many different types of judgments and liens, and they would check through all of that to make sure there's no issues. And then once it's transferred over to you, there would be no debts. Previous debts, of course, if you're going to get a mortgage on it, of course, there's going to be the mortgage company will get the first lien on the property. But if there is any issues down the road, that's when title insurance gets involved. So basically, if they miss anything, you're covered. You and the bank are covered to pay any of that off, because that was something on the title end. Can I buy a house with no title? So basically, someone needs to record it. So title company does a lot of the back end information. They also record the deed to make sure you're the new owner. So technically, no, you cannot. Maybe some states, the attorney handles the title part of that transaction, but in New Jersey, you do. So there's a lot of different function the title company does. They're also the settlement agent. In most parts, they would basically walk you through the closing process. They would make you explain any documentations, and then disperse any funds necessary. So, for instance, if there's a lien on the property from the previous owner, they would get that paid off before dispersing any funds for everyone else. They disperse funds for the realtors involved. They disperse funds for the attorneys. So they basically get, if you're getting a mortgage on the property, they get those funds from the mortgage company and then disperse those funds to every individual person. Have you seen anyone do a claim on the title insurance? I personally haven't, but I've heard of stories that they do happen. It's very rare, because a title company will not clear title until they're absolutely sure that there's no issues within the chain, the title, the whole title, the whole history and everything, to make sure it's transferred successfully. No company will want to basically dish that out. They'll definitely do their research. No bank will lend the money unless there's title insurance, because the bank is always going to protect themselves. So remember that. They're lending a lot of money. There's a lot of investors involved, so they would make sure that they're covered in all ways. And then homeowners insurance, title insurance, all types, different avenues, they're going to make sure they're covered. So do you know of any good title companies? Yeah, there's I work with a lot of different title companies in the state of New Jersey. A lot of those title companies go across different states. So I can definitely recommend some of those title companies over to anyone. Just shoot me a message. Typically, within a transaction, depending what your team, they usually recommend a title company that you work with, but typically with any transaction, it just depends on the transaction. Typically, you're getting bought into the team. So whichever team you're using, either a real estate agent or attorney, usually they recommend a title company that they typically work with, but you're not really forced to use that company. So keep in mind, you can definitely shop around, but sometimes it makes it a easier transaction because they know how to work with each other and it can be smooth. Not all title companies are the same. There's especially some title companies are expert on certain transaction within real estate. Do I need to find my own title company? No, you can do your research, or you can get the recommendation that your team is working with. So, like I mentioned, the attorney usually has their own title company that they do either all or most of the transactions. So they would typically use their team, and most of the times it can be a smooth transaction. Knock on wood, hopefully no issues with that connections. Sometimes when a new company gets involved, it could be lost in some communication can get lost because they're not used to each other. Maybe their how they work is a little different, so they can bump heads. So that's why sometimes it's beneficial for the actual team to use their members because they know how everyone works and they know how to get the job done. But it's all up to you, of course. You're not forced to do anything. Technically, the seller cannot force to use their own title company. The only way they can, I believe, if they pay for some type of fees, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely regulations around different parts of real estate. There's a lot of regulations all over. So just you can do a quick Google search, or you can ask your attorney. If you have an attorney in the transaction, they can help you with those regulations. If you title company, just ask around. It's good to have to ask any question because this will be the biggest purchase of your life. So definitely get familiar with it. Ask questions, but my famous saying is always trust then verify. So you can definitely trust what a person is telling you, but always do your own research because this is we live in a world of data. So data is very accessible to us. If you had the question, of course, many other people had the questions. People can possibly do a video or IG live, a YouTube video, answer any question on the forum. So it's definitely good to do your own research and get familiar with it. I'm not saying be an expert, but at least know the vocabulary or understand when someone is trying to speak to you in this transaction itself, of course. That's pretty much it for title. Let me make sure I cover all the bullet points. If anyone has any other questions, please let me know. So title is part of the closing costs, so keep that in mind. That is definitely needed. If 100% if you're getting a mortgage, the mortgage company will definitely require the title insurance. Is very important. So sometimes a lender can be cleared to close and be ready, but title can have an issue. So definitely keep in mind, there's a lot of moving parts within a real estate transaction. So I would say it isn't over until you sign the documents, have the keys, and the funds were dispersed, and you're in the house. So definitely keep that in mind within a real estate transaction. It ain't over until you sign those documents. The lender can be cleared to close, but there can be issue with the title. So you can sometimes wait after the fact, and you need to resolve those issues. And just keep that in mind. I'm going to wrap things up now because I like to keep these short and to the point. But if anyone has any questions or any topics you want to discuss for next week's or anything in the future, or want a free consultation, just shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to assist. I'm an open book. I am an open book. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.